She cheated on me with my best friend the night before our wedding. Now, she is begging for forgiveness. Will I take her back? Oh, hi. Samuel Hudson at 38 guesses what? In a few days, I am going to marry Scarlett, the love of my life. Can you believe it has been 4 years since I first met her? Every single day since then has just made our connection even stronger. But you know who's always been lurking in the background? Violet, my high school sweetheart. She totally broke my heart before we even got to say, I do. Man, I was seriously the happiest dude alive 12 years ago. Violet and I had pretty much made it through all the crazy stuff that comes with being teenagers in love, and we were totally ready to take on the world together. Wrapped up in each other's arms, we had this whole lifetime of inside jokes, laughter, and future plans lined up. Then, out of nowhere, it all came crashing down right before our wedding. We had everything figured out. The venue, the flowers, and the music. My folks were coming in from out of town, and our friends were super pumped. I was supposed to crash at a hotel, a goofy tradition we thought would keep the bad vibes away. Then I suddenly remembered that I had totally left my wallet behind, so because of that, I forgot my cufflinks and had to drive back home. Anyway, I was going back and I started feeling this strange sense of dread. When I neared our place, everything was eerily quiet. The lights were dimmed and I could feel my spine chilling. Violet always hated the dark, so I knew something was wrong. My heart pounding, I finally opened the door. What I saw was almost surreal. There lay Violet. My dear, in bed with Hudson, my childhood friend. They were so wrapped up in their betrayal that it took them a moment to notice my presence. Turning and running, the world shattered before me, my heart racing and my mind screaming incredulous thought after thought. So, I called off the wedding and cut ties with Violet and Hudson, and then I dove deep into healing. It was tough battling depression. Just trying to pick up the pieces of life broken into smithereens. A few years went by, and I met Scarlett, and she got my scars and loved me anyway. Being with Scarlett made me feel light, something I hadn't experienced in ages. The year of my marriage was approaching, and it seemed that the past had finally been left in the past. My relationship with Scarlett was solid and based on complete mutual trust. We were always ready to listen to and support each other. Then, 1 week before the great day, I became aware of an unfamiliar sound from my phone. Violet reached out. She messaged me from some new account, totally begging me to explain herself. The message was like a roller coaster of feelings. Regret, sadness, and these desperate pleas for forgiveness. She said she was crushed about my upcoming wedding, claiming I was the only guy she ever really loved. I felt this wave of anger and confusion rushing in. Can you believe she's trying to butt into my life again? Right away, I sent all her messages to Scarlett, and she totally heard what was up. To my surprise, Scarlett didn't shrug off my feelings. She actually understood that I could feel the anger boiling up inside of me. "Hey, let's have some fun with this," she said. A little sparkle in her eye. Let's give her a taste of her own medicine. I had never seen this side of Scarlett before. It totally made my heart swell with appreciation for her fierce loyalty. It was such a huge difference from the betrayal I had gone through. I felt this weird sense of gratitude and nervousness because I had no idea where this would lead us. So, Scarlett and I started brainstorming a plan. We brought in our tightest crew, ready to face Violet somewhere different. But where should we do it? We settled on this pretty plain local cafe we all knew, which used to be filled with laughter but was now going to be the spot for our revenge. I sent Violet a text to confirm our meetup. My heart was pounding with this crazy mix of fear and excitement. I couldn't get the past out of my head, but still, I felt a bit stronger for knowing I wasn't in this alone. So, it was Violet's birthday that day, and I had an idea to treat her my way. Man, my stomach was all knotted up. As I came through the door of the cafe, there she was, Violet, sitting alone playing with a curl of her hair. When she saw me, she lightened up, and I could see how she felt excited and nervous in her eyes. "Samuel!" she cried out and rose to hug me. I sat back, reminding myself of our betrayal. "Let's talk," I said coolly, sitting across from her. Violet was yammering on about her regret and all the ways she's changed. I really tried to pay attention, even though I felt like I was going to lose my lunch on her. Weighed down by our history, I glanced over at Scarlett in the back, just chilling there, being my rock. "I really missed you," Violet said, her voice shaking a bit. "I know I messed up, but I couldn't stop thinking about you. I was young and dumb, and my insecurities just took over. Violet, what you did totally destroyed me," I said in a low, even tone. "I've been trying to get over what you did for years now. It took forever to learn how to trust again." She looked down, tears just streaming down her face. "I get that I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I've really changed. I'm not the same person I used to be." So, out of the blue, our friends just stormed into the cafe, all hyped up. They were wearing shirts that said, "For the bitchiest bitch in town, and we're carrying this cake with happy birthday, bitch," written on it in huge letters. The whole place just erupted in laughter, and a bit of shock, too. Violet went from uber, excited and cheerful, to literally shocked and horrified when she realized it was all set up. I couldn't help but feel a bit satisfied as I watched her world crumble. "No way!" we yelled in unison, laughing so hard it echoed off the cafe walls. Violet went pale. "What's happening?" she stammered, her eyes getting all teary. I got up and just stared at her while the room went quiet. "This is what you deserve," I said, all icy. "You really thought you could just stroll back into my life after everything you pulled? You can't act like the victim now." Violet burst into tears, her tough act caving in on itself. "Samuel, please. I'm so sorry. I thought you were past it." "You have no idea what you put me through," I said icily. "I spent years healing from your betrayal. You had your chance and you blew it." Scarlett stood beside me, firm and unyielding. "You should have thought of the consequences before coming," she said unquestionably. As tears were welling up in Violet's eyes, she snarled, bitter and furious. "I didn't deserve this, making a fool out of me in front of everyone and messing up my reputation. I won't forgive you, and I'm gonna unleash all my anger on you and that girl you're with now, who thinks she's so perfect." Scarlett snarled back at her. "You're the one who's a slut, proving just how much of a jerk and traitor you are the day before your wedding. Sleeping with Samuel's best buddy. Everything's pretty obvious now." I turned around and walked away feeling lighter, finally ready to face the ghosts from my past. Days kinda just mixed together. Honestly, they were filled with feelings. Super happy, but also this weird emptiness that made it easier to avoid Violet. Still, the memories haunting me wouldn't let me be. Scarlett, my awesome friend, totally picked up my vibe one night while we all snuggled up on the couch. "Are you okay?" "I thought so," I said, my voice distant. It's just, I never thought she'd contact me again. I thought I was done with all of that. Scarlett caught my hand, and her firm grasp and icy demeanor really brought me back down to reality. You're done with it. You're done with it. You faced her. You took your power back. I nodded, but those memories just wouldn't fade, and I couldn't stop thinking, would Violet even bother reaching out to me again? I spent countless nights wide awake, dark shadows from the past racing around in my head. Meanwhile, I kept replaying moments with Violet in second, guessing the choices I had made. A few days went by, and I was finally starting to chill out about how things were going with Scarlett and me. Then I got Violet's next letter. This time, she wanted to meet up again. She was looking to apologize properly. I showed the letter to Scarlett. She took a quick look at it, raised an eyebrow, and said, "So, what's your plan now? Again, didn't you see how we handled her last time and all the stuff we said? Don't you remember she said she'd totally come at us? What kind of apology could she even want to make?" I honestly don't know. Part of me just wants to move on, but another part is craving some kind of closure. You don't know Violet. She's not strong enough to actually go through with her threats. I get her. She's just super desperate and trying to find a way back to me. But what she doesn't get is that I'm totally over all that. What we have is way more serious, and I want to marry you. Closure is key, Scarlett says out loud, but it's totally up to you. Just don't forget you don't owe her a thing. I couldn't catch any Z's that night. My mind kept on bouncing around. Everything that had happened, what was coming next? I figured I'd meet with Violet one last time and finally tie this whole thing up. So, finally, the day we were to meet arrived, and I was really excited and, at the same time, very nervous. We had picked this quiet park as our spot. You know, a really chill place where one could think, waiting for her. I kept repeating to myself what I wanted to tell her, hoping it would just come out right. Violet finally walked in, looking older and more tired than I remembered. The years had been hard on her, just as they were hard on me. She came towards me slowly. Concern etched all over her face. "Samuel," she said softly, her voice shaking. I nodded and gestured for her to sit down. "Okay, let's get down to business. You wanted to apologize." She nodded and took a deep breath. I've spent years feeling bad about what I did. I understand that nothing can change the past, but I really want to tell you how sorry I am. Your friend had gotten me so drunk that night and kept saying, "We should hang out before your wedding." I totally knew my limits with alcohol, but I went way too far. And the next thing I knew, I was in bed with him. I know I really screwed up, and I regret it a ton, so I'm asking you to forgive me. Your actions totally wrecked me, Violet, I said, my voice steady but kind of choked up. I spent years getting over what you did. It took me ages to trust anyone again. It took me ages to trust anyone again. Her face. Her cheeks. I really didn't mean to hurt you. I was just scared and totally confused. Honestly, I had no clue what was going on with me or what I was getting myself into. And I messed up. I looked at her face to see if there was any trace left of the girl I once loved. You had your chance, you made your decision, and you broke my heart while you were at it. I've moved on, but that doesn't alleviate the pain. Violet nodded, looking pretty sad. I understand. I didn't think I deserved your forgiveness. I just had to let you know how super sorry I am. You deserved way better. I heard her out, and I was feeling all sorts of emotions. One part of me is saying to just let it go, but the other part is itching for some payback. For a sec, I took a deep breath to try and shake off the heaviness of the past. Thanks for saying that, I finally replied. But honestly, thanks for being honest. Let me explain. I have moved on and built a life without you, and I am happy now. I'm getting married in a few days." Violet's face just dropped, and all the color disappeared from her cheeks. "I didn't know. I'm so sorry, Samuel," she said, looking really bummed out. "I really hope you find happiness too, Violet," I said gently. "But I need you to just stay out of my life. I can't deal with this all over again." She nodded, looking like she got it. "I will. I promise." I felt this weird relief as I walked away from that last meeting. I had faced my past, said what needed to be said, and was all set to move forward without the heaviness of guilt or anger. When I got back home, Scarlett was there waiting for me, looking worried. "How did it go?" she asked softly, trying to be reassuring. "I finally got the closure I needed," I said, pulling her close. "I realized my past doesn't define me anymore. I've got a future with you, and that's what really counts." Scarlett smiled warmly, her sparkling eyes shining with kindness. "I'm so proud of you, Samuel. You've come such a long way." That evening, I snuggled up on the couch, feeling super grateful. I knew my scars would always be there, but they didn't have a hold on me anymore. I was all set to start sharing my life with Scarlett, the woman who brought healing and growth into my world. So, the big day of the wedding finally came. It was one of those sunny days, and the place felt just so cozy. I was standing up at the altar, my heart beating like crazy, and then I saw Scarlett walking down the aisle just aglow with happiness. That was what it was all leading to. She came closer, and I felt whole. Just thinking about our journey, all the hurt we'd been through, the healing, and the deep love that had blossomed inside me for her. I wasn't going to keep facing away from the past anymore. With the one I loved by my side, I was all set to step into a new chapter. We exchanged our vows, and I just knew right then and there that nothing like this had ever happened before. We were going to spend the rest of our lives together with the love of my life by my side, the one I had stuck by through all the tough times. Scarlett looked at me all hopeful and excited, like we had this awesome future ahead filled with love and happiness. By the time the last ceremony was done, I had finally kissed my wife as her husband. Love had totally beat out betrayal and pain. Then, I was finally free, and my heart just opened up to whatever life threw at us. And so, after some time, Scarlett and I became regular lovers, just living like we were married. We explored our city, found some cool new hangouts, and made awesome memories we will never forget. We shared dreams of doing things in life, like traveling the world and starting a family, one day at a time. One evening, as we were sitting on the balcony watching the sunset, Scarlett turned and looked at me with that light of excitement in her eyes. "So what do you think about the whole idea of having kids one day?" she asked. I was caught off guard completely. "I've thought about that," I admitted. "But it's a pretty huge step. Are you even ready for something like that?" "I'm all in," she said. "I want to make a life with you, Samuel. I want to share everything, the good and the bad." As we chatted, I could feel this warmth just flowing through me. For the first time ever, I really felt sure about something. The pain from my past faded even more into the background as I imagined a future filled with love and laughter. So, months went by, and we totally had to deal with all kinds of challenges. From career stuff to family drama, life just kept throwing us curveballs. But we handled each one together, and it seriously made our bond even stronger. Scarlett was cooking dinner while I was talking on the phone beside her that evening. She took the phone while continuing to cook. I could see her mood just turn as she listened to whatever was going on. As soon as she hung up, she looked totally worried. "What's up?" I asked, alarmed. "My mom needs help with her health issues," she said, shaking. "She's scared, and I want to be there." I took her hand, squeezing it reassuringly. "We'll figure it out together. Family is important, and I'll support you every step of the way." As Scarlett leaned into me, I realized there wasn't much left to say since this home we were creating in our own style was all about love, support, and bouncing back. Love grew in ways I couldn't even imagine, and we shared tons of laughs and endless giggles every year on our anniversary and in all of our adventures to new spots. Scarlett really turned into such an amazing woman, and with every single moment that passed, every single second we cherished felt like something special that we built together. One night, lying in bed, Scarlett turned to me with that thoughtful face. "Hey, remember when I talked about having kids? So it's been 3 months since we last talked about that, and I got so wrapped up in my mom's health and all the stressing about it that I really didn't think about my weird periods. It just hit me now, but I'm pregnant. Can you believe it, Samuel? I'm pregnant, and you're gonna be a dad, babe," she went on. I was like, "No way. Are you for real? I can't believe this." Then I gave her a big hug, plopped my head on her stomach, and kissed it softly, totally filled with happiness and love. Scarlett's face lit up with a smile, and I just knew right then that we were all set for whatever was coming our way. We were totally ready. We were stronger because we had dealt with our pasts and come out on top. Holding our newborn baby in my arms all these years later, I couldn't help but reflect on how far I've come. It was a long journey, packed to the brim with challenges, yet filled to the brim with joy and love. I looked over at Scarlett, who was just smiling at our baby with so much adoration. "Hey, can you believe this is your life?" she said in awe. "I can't," I said, feeling my heart swell. "It's everything I've ever wanted." And just sitting there with him, I couldn't help but feel so grateful for the journey that got me to this place. That rough path I walked didn't define who I am anymore. Instead, I've built a life filled with love, forgiveness, and hope. Basically, a life that's totally mine. So, when I was sitting here with Scarlett beside me and our baby in my arms, I felt like we could tackle anything. I finally found my way back home, and for the first time, my heart was totally at peace.